the Quinn Marr Show.
My next guest has lived about 1,000 lives in his 39 years on this earth. From being a child actor in The Little Rascals to working alongside Chuck Norris to starring in a film with a seal, and of course, voicing the iconic Otto in Nickelodeon's Rocket Power. Since then, he's become a trained fighter, gotten into motor racing, and now serves as a sheriff's deputy. I'm telling you, 1,000 lives. It is my pleasure to welcome the Quinn Marr Show, Joseph Ashton. Joe, how's it going?
Man, it's been going really good. Thanks for having me. This is super cool.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for doing this. I'm fired up to have you on here. Just kind of get started. I normally just like to go back to basically the beginning of my guests' lives. So you grew up in California, and before I get into this, there's conflicting answers I get on where in California you were born. I got multiple answers. So can you tell me where in California you grew up?
Yeah, I was born and raised in LA County,
Okay.
kind of more towards the east end of LA County, but I grew up in Hollywood. I grew up in Burbank. I grew up, going to and from Hollywood auditions, movie sets. From there, if I would book a part and they're like, "Hey, this film's in Canada, or this film's in Europe, or this film's in Mexico, or wherever it was," then they would uh, they would have me accommodated to do my school, live there. Yeah, so pretty much grew up everywhere, but a home base was always LA.
That's unreal. Now for me, growing up in Toronto and being from Toronto, obviously it's a much different lifestyle than California, LA, etc. So like, obviously I know it's the norm for you, but like, what was that like growing up in California?
It was pretty cool. I grew up loving soccer. I loved playing soccer, so I was very well traveled with that. And I feel like my teammates and just growing up being so competitive in that sport kept me pretty humble. Um, and then every once in a while, if I have to go out to a movie set and then come back and they'd have a limo take me to my soccer games, I tell all my squad, get in. We'd take a lap around just like the Mighty Ducks. I'm
Oh
like,
my,
get in, dude. We're going for a cruise.
that's unbelievable. Did any of your buddies like your school friends and stuff, were they acting as well, or just kind of you were like the odd one out in that aspect?
You know what? Every once in a while, they would do background work for me, or they would. Even me and my buddies growing up in college, we had this show called The Moto Life, and we were all part of that. It was like the guys doing backflips and stuff out at Paula Raceway or out in the hills of Kahia. I mean, it was wild times. That was pretty cool. So they all got to be a part of that. But yeah, every once in a while, they could, if you wanted somebody to play soccer, this guy knows how to play soccer. He can do it. Yeah, my buddy growing up with Andrew, my buddy Paul, a lot of my buddies got to be a part of some of these shows. It was pretty cool.
That's really sick. So before we get into like your actual acting and everything in your resume, where did like the love for entertainment come from for you? Like, what did your parents do for like job wise?
Well, my mom worked for a real estate agency at the time, and my father was big time in the California Highway Patrol. So, and
Complete
I've
opposite
always
of the entertainment world. Complete opposite.
yes and no, because he
Okay.
was so locked into traffic and routes, and he knew how to get to everywhere. So if my mom at the time needed to get me to an audition, she'd be on the phone with him, and he was live time GPS. We didn't have the, you know, access to cell phones. We didn't have this whole just Google Maps. We
Right.
would just ask my dad, and my dad was like locked on. Like, take a left here, take a right there. You'll go by a blue building, and oh yeah, there it is. Crazy,
That's
crazy. So yeah, he
unreal.
was like the original GPS.
That's awesome. Because I know your brother was a child actor as well, right? Your older brother. So
Yeah, he
obviously
did.
he got into it first and then you got into it.
Yeah, he had done. No, it was me. I was a little guy, baby, and I was with my mom, and we were at this lobby to this massive building. And at that time, they would have auditions in some of the rooms. Like there'd be like a real estate agent here, an attorney here, and then hey, they're auditioning for a McDonald's commercial in this room. And I just so happened to be in the lobby with my mom because she was doing her real estate stuff. And a lady comes out from a casting agency, and her name's Joey Paul. and she's like, I need your son for my commercial. And my mom, she had to do all of her verification and vetting, and they're like, Joey Paul, yeah, for sure. She's a big time casting agent. Send him. So from there, I was a part of a lot of McDonald's commercials. I did Doritos commercials. I did Pepsi commercials. And I was maybe, yeah, like a year old was when I had my first baby Olympic commercial. It was this
What?
premise where these little kids were going to grow up and be big time Olympic athletes. And I was this little kid on a bike, and they're like, he's going to grow up and he's going to be a world famous cyclist. And I'm just like, they're pulling me with a string. It's so funny.
No way. Huh,
Yeah.
because
So that
most of
just
the
kind of
people I have
happened.
on, I don't think I've ever had anyone on that was literally a baby when they started. Like maybe like 2, 3, maybe 4 years old, but that's crazy. Just out of the blue. There's no way that would happen now where someone goes, I need your kid. You're standing right here.
Yeah. I feel like maybe it's a little bit easier to get to the cut to the chase because they have the internet. They have it's so you could just research it. At that time, my mom had to like go through a phone book and then make a phone call on a payphone and figure out who this person was. When now you just grab the phone, like, look at me, I got 5 million followers or whatever. Like,
Uh-huh.
oh, that checks, that checks. Or even you, hey, I got this show, I got this podcast, it's up online, I get to watch it and be like, this is great. Or like, this is like some phone number from overseas I don't recognize. Is most likely a scam. So
No,
it's
that's
a little bit easier now.
yeah. So you're doing these commercials, you're kind of basically building a resume as like a really, really, really young kid. And then I know like actually before I was gonna mention the Little Rascals, before I get into that, California and like more notably like LA was and is widely known as like the place for acting. So in the early 90s when like you started to grow up a little bit in it, what was it like then?
Well, I loved it. One, I really do have a knack for the entertainment. I've always wanted to be the, you know, up front and center of the stage. I've always wanted to be a part of the plays at school. I've always wanted to be the captain of the soccer team. I've always wanted to race dirt bikes and get up on the podium and do my interviews. That's always been like my personality. So, but then also with that, I took acting super seriously. And they're telling me, hey, this is your job, and we want you to study this script, and we want you to put your all into it. And I would every single time, every single audition, every single time I'd ever gotten a part or I was in front of the camera, I had this, I've always had this understanding. Like, this is a lot of money. These people are counting on me. Don't mess it up. Do your job, do a good job. And I feel like when you have that kind of attitude, things things go good. Things go good. And then also I had super awesome people around me the whole time. Charlie Adler, Penelope Cruz, all these big time directors, they were there basically raising me in this adventure. Hey, you know what, Joe? Try it this way, or try it this way, or try to think about that guy, or think about that person and try to get into that mindset. So they were right there steering the ship, and I feel like it worked out really, really well. I'm very happy with my acting career and the projects that I was a part of. Super, super happy, even to this day, however many years later, pumped to be talking to you about it.
I appreciate that. And I know you've mentioned this before, and you kind of just quickly mentioned it now. A lot of people who grew up as child actors don't look back at the time like very fondly, but obviously
I
you had a
know.
much different experience. Like, what do you think it was about your experience versus others that like you were able to have like great memories looking back on it?
Well, I've talked about this before. I am super, super sad for the people who did not have that great experience. If they were hurt, or if they were picked on, or if they were bullied, or if they were, you know, um, treated inappropriately, man, I don't know how else to express my sincere empathy for them. But that was not my experience. My experience has always been positive. my parents, my family, everybody around me, if I wanted to do something, they would push for it hard. And if I didn't want to do something, it was no stress. I said, I don't really want to be I don't really want to be the bad kid, or I don't really want to be uh, the kid that's cussing. At that time, that was not what I wanted to do, and there was no pressure on me. Nobody told me, "Oh, I had to do it." Nobody told me, "Oh, you think about this or think about that. You better or else." To be fair, I wanted to play soccer, and acting was something that I got to do and that I was good at. And soccer was kind of like the reward for me. If um, yeah, if anything, I always had my sports to fall back on. So I think growing up where it wasn't my make or break, it wasn't my like life or death. I was going to be well taken care of anyway, and I also had soccer and sports to fall back on. So yeah, I think maybe that had a lot to do with why it was so positive. There was really no pressure on me, and then also being super selective about the roles that I did take on. And at that time, acting was fun. Acting was cool. Cartoons were big. Uh, action heroes were big. Ninja Turtles was huge. Toys was big. Like it was just all this. Yeah, it was just like it was all positive for me. So I think that that helped me at the time be pretty cool and comfortable. And then looking back on it now, it's like, man, nobody ever hurt me. Nobody ever said anything crazy to me. Um, yeah, never felt disrespected. So I can look back on it super positively.
I think one thing, like, and you kind of touched on it quickly there, is that like your family didn't need you to do this to like keep the lights on at the house. So I think that's obviously a massive part of it as well. You look at kids like Macaulay Culkin, like he was the one paying his way, like paying the family's way. So like that obviously has a big part of it. So no, that totally makes sense.
Yeah, and even him, man, just he's very expressive. He talks about it, and even but now he's married. His brother's doing super good. Like they all seem like they are in a much better place,
Hmm.
and I respect that. Uh, I don't think that I'm not speaking for him, but yeah, I'm sure he has his wishes or his like shoulda, woulda, coulda moments. But for me, when it came to acting, man, I was a part of some pretty cool projects, and I look back at it very fondly.
Absolutely. Speaking of really cool projects, the first one on your filmography on IMDb is The Little Rascals, where you played
Yeah.
Rascal.
No, I actually had a character name, and I
What
had
was it?
this whole bit where me and my crew steal the trophy from the bowling alley, and we're like running down the back streets of East LA. It was like all the Hispanic kids, and like we bob up and we go out. Remember in that section of the movie when they're stealing parts to make their go-kart?
Yes.
That was like my moment to shine, but they got they got cut
Oh
out.
no way.
Yeah, and then eventually, like that's the whole bit. Alfalfa leans forward to tie the handkerchief on top of the bowling trophy. Yeah, my character, I stole that trophy from the bowling alley.
Oh
I guess
no
they're
way.
they were more along the lines of like, this doesn't look so good. These
What
kids
was do you
stealing.
remember what your character's name was?
Weezer.
Weezer. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
Hat, tie. And then the whole time I remember that I remember going into the audition. I remember what they were asking us. I remember they lined us up with like a group of other kids, and they're like, all you kids are going to be rascals. We're like, okay, cool. I remember being on set at Universal Studios. And at that time, we would take our lunch break and they would put like these big covers over us so we didn't get ketchup and mustard and stuff on our clothes. And the Universal Studios tour would come through the back lot, and they'd be like, over here on the left, they're filming the remake to the Little Rascals. Hey, say hi. And everybody's like, yeah. Ah, yeah, that was pretty cool. And then another thing, everybody's teeth was falling out because we were little kids, we're growing up like 8, 9 years old. And the big thing in Hollywood to get was a flipper. Do you know what a flipper is?
Or you can take it
It's a
out.
fake tooth. Yep. So I grew up like, oh man, fake teeth, this is awesome. And then as I got older, I got into fighting, and now all my friends also have flippers. But,
That's awesome.
it's all come full circle.
Yeah. It must have been really cool to be on a set with mainly all other like the rest of the cast was kids. So like that must have been really fun, no?
Yeah, totally. And I got along
Chaotic.
with all these kids. We were all just having a good time. A lot of those movies are filmed in summer. So you don't have to stress too much about school. Um, there is school to be done because we're all small kids. We all have work to do as far as homework and whatnot. But most of us were homeschooled, and we'd work on our packets, our little homework packets. Learning how to read and write and do your math and all that, and then we just go film and then go play. So yeah, that was a really great experience too. Also, being a part of Nickelodeon was mostly kid actors. They'd hire
Mhm.
kids to play the parts of kids. So kind of just
Yeah.
got to be amongst my friends and my peers the whole time. It's pretty cool.
After the Little Rascals, you had like a bunch of one episode shows. You're on Dr. Quinn, you're on Smart Guy, Walker Texas Ranger. For Walker Texas Ranger, I know I mentioned the intro, but did you actually get to work with Chuck Norris?
Yes, I did. Yes,
That's
I did.
unreal.
That I played Nicky. He was the son of a mobster, and he was being mistreated and abused by his dad. And then Walker, Texas Ranger, comes in and saves the day. So rest in peace. I think Chuck Norris was super super cool. I have pictures with him. Man, it was just such a good time. I probably have that script somewhere in my trophy room.
That's
Uh,
cool.
but I remember there was a gun in that scene. There's a fight. The gun comes over to me, and my character picks up the gun, and he's got to make this decision like, who's he going to point the gun at? Is he going to shoot? Is he not going to shoot? There's this very intense moment. And I remember off camera before we rolled, Chuck Norris comes over and he says, hey, even though this is a toy, we're going to treat it like it's a real gun. You're not going to point it at anybody. You're not going to pull the trigger. You're not going to pretend. We are going to take this very seriously. And that helped, one, keep me in the mindset of like, okay, my character, I'm getting this weapon. Now there's this intensity of a kid with a gun. And then two, I kept that with me forever. I own firearms. I've been in law enforcement, and it's the same rules apply. It doesn't matter if it's a squirt gun, Nerf gun, real gun. We're going to treat it as if it's the real deal. So that was pretty excellent memory.
That's a really great tip. Did he give off the badassness as everybody said he did?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Plus, at that time, I was already training in mixed martial arts. So yeah, and I that movie Sidekicks. You ever see that movie?
Sidekicks.
It's
I
like
don't
this
know.
boy. He's like growing up. He's trying to like, if I can remember it right, he's a part of a karate tournament, and he has these visions of Chuck Norris, and Chuck Norris is like his Obi-Wan Kenobi, like kind of mentoring him through these difficult times in his life.
Okay.
And then like at the end of the movie, I think they do meet up and link up. There's a bunch of people that are like, you're misremembering this movie completely, but I do remember that. But I was training in jujitsu since I was a kid, training in karate. I would go to full contact karate tournaments growing up. So yeah, Chuck Norris has always been, you know, idolized. Definitely respected for sure. So meeting him and then working with him, pretty great.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that is pretty sick. What a cool person to be able to work with. And like honestly, down the line, and we'll get into it, but down the line, you worked with a lot of pretty cool people.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And there's sometimes when people are like, oh, you meet your heroes, and sometimes they're jerks or whatever. It's never been my experience, and I've kind of kept that, taken it to heart when somebody comes up and they're like, "Oh, we know you from Rocket Power," or "Oh, we know you from this." Or the other day, Slappy and the Stinkers is my favorite movie. Like, oh man, it was like almost 30 years ago. These movies. I made these movies when we were like 11, 10, 11 years old. That's a long time. So to meet me and to have that happiness when remembering my old movies and old shows, I'm gonna make it cool. I always want to make it worth it. I want my fans to feel good about liking me.
Hmm. No, I love that. That's awesome. You were doing, like I said, these one episode shows, and then all of a sudden, LA Doctors, 8 episodes. You're Nick Newman. So getting to the point of being on set from like more than just like the one episode and being more of a series regular, how did that kind of work out for you? And like that must have been unbelievable of not just saying, okay, see you guys another time and then not come back, but actually being there every day and stuff.
Well, every single one of these experiences was really eye opening. The commercial, that's like a one day, you're done, make a lot of money. Cool. Is it a national commercial? Is it going to be like McDonald's or Doritos? Is it going to go worldwide? Is it going to be translated in different languages? Probably. Or is it like a local mom and pop shop and you're probably going to get it played 2 or 3 times? You'll never see it. Because at that time, we didn't have uh, any way to really keep track of it. We had TV guides. Sometimes you'd be like, oh, I think they're going to play this cartoon, or I think they're going to play this show at this date and this time. And then cross your fingers. Hopefully, like some crazy news break doesn't go down and eat your whole episode. Um, but then going from that to going to a movie set where it was months of work every day, in and out, doing school, doing work, hanging with friends, to series regular, same kind of attitude when it comes to showing up to work and taking it serious and having your little script and going over it and over it and over it, so that when it comes time to film, you're rocking and rolling. You're the man. uh, I feel like the same kind of energy from me is there, the same kind of work ethic is there, but then just different experiences, because that show, we won a People's Choice Award.
No
We
way.
we we won the like best new series. I
Wow.
go up on stage, we're accepting our award, everybody's feeling great. Like this is definitely going to get a second season, right? This is going to be the next ER or Friends. Like we're good. Nothing. Nah, show's canceled. We won our award and now we're all off onto bigger, better projects.
How does that make
Ah,
any sense? Like, how do you go from award to not even getting renewed? How does that
I
make
guess
sense at
it's
all?
I guess it is like if you win a Super Bowl on a football team, do you stay on that team or do you renegotiate your contract? You're like, hey, I'm an award winner. I'm going to go over here and do this now. I've already solidified my reputation. I've earned awards. I'm award winning, but I'm going to go be a part of that project. I don't really want to do that anymore. I guess
Mhm.
there's a little bit of that. Also, I never made those kinds of choices. I never really had that pull. I'm like, I'll fund it. I'll pay for the second season. Like, I was just a kid, so I wasn't really heads up to all of the politics or all of the decision makings. But I'm assuming it has something to do with that. Once you're
That
an
makes
award winner, you can be a little bit more selective.
that makes sense. That makes sense. You mentioned already, but Slappy and the Stinkers, where you played Sonny. So, what was the audition process like? This were you doing chemistry reads with the other kids or anything?
You know, that was a super interesting audition process because they brought in all the kids, all the stinkers. We were all there. Me, Travis, Tedford, Gary. Yeah, we were all there, like in the room, all the boys. And they're like, okay, Joe, you're the leader. I'm like, okay, I could be a leader. And they're like, we're not sure. He's not really coming across as like the guy. He's like, at that time, to be fair to them, I was being super cautious. I take acting very seriously. I know all this is very expensive. I'm trying to be respectful. And then uh, somebody pulled my mom aside and said, hey, this guy's supposed to be like the captain of the team. Can you just go tell him to be the captain of the team? And then my mom pulls me aside. She goes, hey, listen, they're not really feeling it. You need to be a little less reserved and internal and just go tell them what you need from them. I said, all right, guys, here we go. Bring it in. We're gonna huddle up. This is what I need from you. This is what I need from you. This is what I'm gonna do. This is what we're all gonna do. Cool, cool, cop. And then from there, they're like, yeah, you're the guy. I was like, oh, I just equated to being a captain of a soccer team. I need you to run there. I need you to pass the ball over there. I need you to score the goal. Then we'll all come back in and celebrate. Cool, let's go. And once I had that mindset, Joe, you're it. You're Sonny. You're the leader. Okay, cool.
Wow, that's awesome. And then, like you said, you reunited with your co-star from Little Rascals, Travis Tedford, and then it was your first project with an alumni of the Quinn Marr Show, Gary Leroy Gray, who then you
Dude,
worked with later on.
Gary's awesome. Yeah, he
Unreal,
even
unreal.
he voiced Sam.
Uh-huh. Yeah, he was the second guy to voice Sam because wasn't I think the first person to voice Sam in Rocket Power,
Sam
his name was
Saletta
Sam.
from Rascals. So we were all kind of we were all amongst each other on a lot of these different sets. And then just growing up in life, all being from LA, we move on, or as an adult, oh, so and so was dating so and so who it knows. I'm like, oh man. So that kind of goes back to I prefer to be nice and humble and super respectful to everybody because you never know, you might see him again.
No, great. That's a great point. Was it kind of like the same thing with as Little Rascals was, where just like you and your buddy, it was like you and your buddies hanging out basically on set, just kind of having fun, right?
Yes. And again, we filmed it in the summer.
Oh,
And that was the first time I got a gift. Barnett Kellman, who directed that, gave us all our G-Shock watches that we wear in the show and all the bikes that we ride. I still have it to this day. I have my GT Vertigo that was gifted to me from the set.
that's unbelievable.
So cool. Yeah.
That's awesome. With the seal, obviously, I know you weren't really working with a seal the entire time. So how did they do that whole thing?
We were.
The whole
It
time
was
it
a
was like
real.
a
It
real
was a
seal?
and my fellow stinkers would be beside themselves if I didn't correct you.
No
It's a sea
way.
lion, sir.
Oh, a sea
Sea
lion. Yeah, not a
lions
seal. Yeah,
have
you're right.
ears.
I'm glad you corrected me. Yeah. Wow. Yep. No, duh. Of course it was a
There's
sea
this
lion.
whole bit about it. It's like, what's the difference between it's a seal? It's a sea lion. It is a sea lion, has whiskers, has ears, has all these other identifying features. But yeah, they actually sent us to a large aquarium where we would interact with these performing sea lions, feed them fish, give them certain commands, give them the little indicator, the little clicker, click, click, good job. It's just like training a dog. It's a water dog, basically. So for months, being around it, petting it, hanging out with it, I think there was two or three. I think there was two or three different sea lions. And then in some cases where it's, I don't know, in some circumstances, it was a puppet, an animatronic, and we had a small statured actor inside of a suit, like doing the bit.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
pretty crazy, but that's Hollywood magic for you.
Huh. You know, it's funny. I don't remember if I called it a seal when I had Gary on, but if I did, he never corrected me. What a guy.
Ooh, I'm
Yeah.
calling him.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. You were also part. Didn't you? I think you won a award for this movie too.
Yeah, we won the Young Artists Award, which is
Yeah.
essentially the Academy Award for child actors.
I've
And
never
I
even
have
heard
two.
of the young artist. So, like, I never even heard
Humble
of this
brag.
thing. That's
Humble
that's
brag. I have
awesome.
two.
Yes, you do. You do, and we'll get into it for the education and little tree. You had one there
Yeah.
too. No
Thanks.
way. That's
Yeah.
really cool. Do you know if they still do those now, the Young Artist Awards?
Man, these kids now, they're winning full on Oscars.
True.
So
Yeah. Maybe they just
I
scrap
don't
it
know
at
if they
that
still do
point.
young. I am somewhat out of touch with Hollywood now. I've just been doing so many other things. Um, but at that time, being a part of the Hollywood Reporter, being a part of the Young Artist Awards, Nickelodeon Award. Oh man, just different times then. MTV was big, Nickelodeon was big. Yeah, it was just a different era.
No, absolutely. Looking at your filmography and like your resume and stuff, like you were pretty like there were like comedies, of course, with Little Rascals and Slappy, but then you got into a little bit more serious with the education of Little Tree, where of course you play the starring role Little Tree. Coming from a family where your parents have the Cherokee descent, what did playing Little Tree mean to you at that point?
Well, I have Cherokee ancestry, but I'm mostly Navajo Indian. My
Okay.
family from my father's side, the last name Valencia is a Spanish last name. So the story of my lineage goes that when France and Napoleon Bonaparte invaded Spain, a lot of the Valencias came towards the United States and settled in with the Native Americans. My family specifically settled in with the Navajo Indians in New Mexico. And then from there, they became ranchers. They kept their last name, and this bloodline is from that. Now, I have a lot of family members with very similar circumstances, but they changed the last name. There's not a whole lot of Valencias.
Hmm.
They changed it to Palencia. They spell it with a P, or it's like a hyphenated name. Valencia Ortiz, Valencia Becerra, or Valenzuela, Valentin, Valen. There's not a lot of family members from that lineage that kept the last name Valencia because at that time there was probably a bounty on them,
Hmm.
or they were considered enemies of France. But I've always been super, super in touch with my ancestry. And even back in the home that I had growing up, we had photos of all of my elders, all the way to in glassed lithographs. Like I have one of those little pop photos, just old timey photos of my great grandparents.
Wow, that's really cool.
Pretty awesome, yeah.
Yeah, wow. And it was pretty cool because with this, like we're talking about you working with big names, James Cromwell, the recently passed Graham Greene. So like working with like big dogs all along these years, like did you ever get like intimidated?
No, I wouldn't say intimidated. Everybody was so caring for me and loving and endearing, and they knew I took it seriously.
Hmm.
I don't, I feel like they were my grandparents. I had such a good relationship with my grandparents growing up too that I've always seen, those, those roles as super respectable. And James Cromwell, he's vegan. I I was like, that's it. That was the first time I'd ever heard of what a vegan was.
I was gonna
I
say,
was
and that
like,
was a while ago.
what? He was the grandpa in Babe. And he said, well, ever since that movie, I've had such a respect for animals. I don't eat animals.
Huh.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So for a couple months, I was vegan with old grandpa, and we were eating salads.
When I think of him, I just think of him in The Longest Yard where he played the warden and like the Adam Sandler one, and he's just like the big jerk. That's it. Being younger, that's the first thing I think of with him.
Well, he's super tall.
Yeah, he just looks like he's like tall and like skinny, right?
6'6", something like that. Something incredibly tall.
God.
And I'm a little guy. Oh man, he's huge.
Yeah.
But everybody on that set, they we filmed in Vancouver. We filmed all over. We filmed all over Canada for that movie. It was supposed to be the Ozark Mountains, but we filmed it in Canada, Montreal, Quebec, Toronto. We went to a lot of like mountainous terrain, and I just remember it was snowing a lot. It was super cold.
Oh, it was winter. Hey, this is the one
Yeah, it
movie
was
we
winter
didn't do in the
time. I
summer.
remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then they still let me be a kid on Halloween. People don't know. I mean, I didn't at the time. Canada celebrates Halloween.
You didn't know
But like
that?
as a 9-year-old, you're like, whoa, Canada celebrates Halloween? This is crazy. So yeah, I got dressed up and I went door to door. Bonjour, comment allez-vous?
That's
Because they
awesome.
speak French.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
the one thing about having Halloween in Canada, being from here, is that, like, you could never be Spider-Man or Batman or a knight or whatever. You had to be Spider-Man or Batman or a knight with a winter jacket on because it was always cold.
yeah,
Every single Halloween. There was never Halloween
yeah.
where it was warm. No, it was always a winter jacket over top of your costume, so you look like a dink.
You could be Mr. Freeze.
There you go. Hey, I should have done that every year.
Yeah, you're already cold and you're already probably turning blue. You're
Yeah,
halfway there, you
exactly.
know?
Yeah.
But
Like
yeah,
you
those were great memories.
well, and I had never honestly heard of that movie, and I was watching snippets of it while I was doing my research on you, and like I'm gonna actually sit down and watch the whole thing because it looks like a really good movie. To be honest, I'm not even just trying to kiss your ass. It does.
Yeah, Richard Friedenberg, he was the director on that. Filmed it in the wintertime in Canada, and it was a very serious role. It was about a little Native American boy who gets ripped from his home. He's placed in essentially a concentration camp, which is what they would do to those natives. They'd put them through Christian training, and they beat it into them, and it was just very it's pretty easy to get into that state when you're a little kid. Even, hey, they're being mean to this kid, you are portraying this part, like, man, it's gonna be very heavy. I just went in with that kind of attitude, and then it's like, and then grandpa's gonna come and he's gonna save you. So it's like, okay, well, it was like I was that little boy. It was
Yeah.
not a far stretch to be that or portray that part. It was me at the time. I was just that was my heart, that was my soul, and those people were my grandparents. It was just, I was like fully immersed in those characters.
Was it hard to leave it on set when you had like those tougher scenes, or just like it is a tougher movie with serious, or were you think maybe you were naive enough as a kid that you're able to leave it on set and go home and not bring it with you?
Both. It was way harder to be in that mental state on set when there's other people around you, because a little kid upset, they don't like seeing little kids upset. They're always trying to cheer you up. They're always trying to bring you out of the blue. You see a little kid crying, it's instinctive. You ask them, what's wrong? What's wrong? What's up, bud? You okay? You all right? Were you hungry? Were you sad? Were you need a rest? And I'm like, this is just me in the script. We are filming these scenes. I want to stay locked into this mode. So eventually we got it to where, director, producer, parents would tell everybody, hey, just leave him alone. He's not a depressed little kid. It's just the script is asking for him to be in this emotional state. So
Mhm.
just leave him be, let him do his thing. And then after the scene, shake it off a little bit. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer than others to come out of the scene, depending on what it is. And then you just carry on. Separation between fiction and reality, but much harder to be a sad little boy on set when everybody wants you to be happy.
Right. That's still so like I find that so impressive how like you can turn it on and off like that, even if it takes a little bit of time, because the average person can't do that.
Yeah, yeah. I don't try to be like, oh, I'm this great actor. It's just for me. Okay, these people all want me to portray this person, be this character, be in this moment, do it for them. Try your absolute best. Ever since I was a little kid, that's always been my mindset. Um, Not that it's not difficult; it is very difficult. I just try to keep that attitude, and that attitude for me translated very well.
Right. No, absolutely. Going to a bit of a happier movie, and this one's interesting because it was all on screen for the longest time, and all of a sudden you flipped the script literally, and you got into voice acting. So, Babes in Toyland, where you played Jack. Where did the interest in the voice acting come from? Did someone bring it to you? Did you ask someone, "Hey, can I try this?"
Oh, I'll tell you exactly what happened. So I've always had this gravelly little voice as a kid, and I would talk like this. I'll say, hi, nice to meet you. My name's Joseph Ashton. I'm 8. And what? His kid's got a wild voice. So I remember one of the producers, I was always taught, be respectful, go up to these people, shake their hands. It's a lot of money. Behave. Okay. So I go up, I go to shake this guy's hand, and he does the hands up, get away from me. What the heck is wrong with you? Are you sick? Trying to spread your germs on me? So I didn't even audition. I just was like, oh, I guess I go now. I leave. I tell my mom, like, that was very upsetting. I was like, man, I'd never experienced anything like that. I was like, they tell me my voice is weird. And my mom's like, oh, hell no, not my baby. So she took me over to, I want to say, Innovative Artists. And she says, hey, my son's a voice actor. And I was like, yeah. And they're like, oh, for sure. We love the voice. I did PSAs. I did voiceovers for commercials. And then I started getting into acting. And then at that point, yeah, the Babes in Toyland audition came around. And like, does he sing? I could try. And there's like a little bit in there. I think me and one other actor did the sing song bit in that movie. But that was the first time it was like a big studio. MGM Grand was funding this movie. It was going to be a Christmas movie. And then that was the first time they ever had animated my character and showed it to me. And they presented me like a painting of the character, Jack. Bandage on his head, from Jack and Jill Found Down the Hill. And Lacey Chabert was going to be the actress. She was going to be Jill. I was like, this is incredible. I feel like I knew her from Party of Five and other movies that she was doing. Party of Five? She was big time. She was acting a lot. I knew who she was. But I was a little like starstruck at the time. I was like, oh man, this is pretty cool. Huge sound studio, massive production. I was like, oh yeah, this is awesome. So that kind of changed it for me a little bit. I'm like, well, maybe my voice isn't weird, or maybe it is weird, and I'm a voice actor now. So
There you go. It's funny that you mentioned your voice thing because, like, I kind of get like little bit hints of like if Steve, like when Steve-O, let's say, was a kid. You know what I mean? Like how you had that raspiness. You know, how Steve-O
Yeah,
has
I
that
could
from
definitely
Jackass?
do that.
Yeah, yeah. You
Definitely
know what I
have
mean?
that in me. I know exactly where he's coming from. He talks right here on this side. He says
Yeah,
right here on this side of his voice. That's probably also from a lot of smoking, though. I think he's pretty open about smoking cigarettes, and if
that's
he's not, then my bad, Steve-O. But yeah, you sound like a guy who smokes a lot.
a good point. That's a good point.
Me, I talk from here, right in my sternum.
That's so interesting.
Depending on the character, like Otto Rocket is here. It's way up here. It's definitely in that part of my voice. A little younger, where my announcer voice, when I do announcing, or my radio phone, that's right here in my sternum.
That's so weird how you like people can just do that. Like that's such an interesting. And you just learned that on your own,
Well,
or is it with the voice acting? Like when you went to to learn kind of more about voice acting.
yeah, I just think it's something that I've always been able to do. I think about it. Where does that character need to come from? And then I just pull from different parts of my either my stomach or my chest, or I'll go into my voice. Um, and then I have a range. I can do like really really high pitched squealy, or super deep. It just depends on whatever they're gonna need from me.
That's so cool. I'm so jealous of that.
So
Okay.
I also have different people's laughs down. Like when Joe Rogan gets going, he's like, I'm like, oh yeah, that's me for sure. Then
That's
I'll tell you another
unreal.
trade secret. Okay, you ready for this? This is the
Honey.
secret. The honey. You know,
And
here
it
we
just
go.
smoothens out your voice?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Quinn Marr Show.
That's unreal. How long have you been doing the honey?
Recently.
Oh, wow.
So so what I'm doing now, I'm a master of ceremonies for a show called Dan Henderson's Fight Night, A lot of people know Dan Henderson. He's a UFC legend. He's a Hall of Famer, big time fighter. A lot of fighting fans and fighting prospects that want to go pro go through his tournament. It's a tournament, all weight classes. It's very similar to Bellator or UFC. In fact, some of the guys that have won this tournament have gone on to be pro and be in the Ultimate Fighter, fight for the UFC. A lot of them, like my wife, she fought for Dan Henderson. She won the Spar Star Championship, the flyweight championship. She got her belt on display. She's crushing. But this show, kind of funny, they needed a master of ceremonies, and they had a guy who was like, I guess I'll just have auditions. So I went in there like, hey, it was like an Instagram contest. Do your best Bruce Buffer impression. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dan Henderson's Fight Night, a mixed martial arts contest facilitated by Dan Henderson's Athletic Fitness Center and brought to you by tonight's sponsors. We're like, yeah, you got it. Yeah, you got it. So I've been calling that show for 8 years now.
Wow.
Yeah. In the red corner, fighting a mixed martial artist. Yeah. The pride of Temecula. Yeah.
That's awesome. So that's
essentially that's just my best Bruce Buffer impression, and it's been that way. So kudos to him. I give him all the credit. I try to match his cadence, and it's working out pretty dang good.
It's funny that you just learned the honey trick like recently versus like all those years of voice acting and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Well, at that time we had a guy, his name was Ryan Spink. He has since passed away. God bless him and rest in peace. He is a Sifu grandmaster in multiple disciplines of martial arts. He is one of the referees, and he is a part of the sanctioning body that organizes that fighting tournament. So CAMO is the California Amateur Mixed Martial Arts Organization. They do all the refereeing, all the scorekeeping. And Ryan Spink specifically was the top guy. So I'd go in there for a mic check, maybe on a Friday. And like, hey, sound check. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, if you will please rise for the national. And they're like, hey, time out. Ryan calls me over. He's like, hey, try it this way. And I was like, oh, I'm locked in now. I'm clued in. This person is directing. I'm like, okay. He says, try it. Speak from here. From here, use the microphone to project. Less voice, more microphone. I was like, I love this direction. Changed my cadence, made it to his direction, and it sounds so much better. Then he says, give me that microphone. Grabs it. Bienvenidos y amigos y amigas. Whatever he said in Spanish. I'm like, holy crap, this guy's doing it now in both languages, right? He's like, you want it in French? I'm like, oh man, this guy's on a whole nother level. So somebody called me over and they go, hey, Ryan he does this mixed martial arts professing, but he's also the host of a radio show in Mexico. So he is bilingual. He's a super tall white guy, white whimsical beard. I mean, the dude did not look like he would speak fluent, like formal Spanish, but dude was top notch. He passed away a couple of years ago. He was in a car accident. It was super unfortunate. That really hit me hard, but I remember his direction. He's the one that clued me on to the honey. He's the one that clued me on to this type of performance and voice performance. So absolutely give him a huge amount of respect, and I do it the way I think he would like it.
That's unbelievable. That's such a sick story. Wow. And it's the people that you would have no idea that are just like in the places you're like, you don't belong here, but you are this person for the job. Like, that's so weird how that works, huh?
And I honestly feel like some things were just meant to be. I happened to be going into the fitness center. Sarah was fighting. My kids were part of the kids club at the time. And they say, hey, we do this show. It's called Fight Night. we need a host, like an MC of sorts, somebody to introduce the fighters, somebody to be like, ah. And I was like, oh, I'll try. And they're like, oh, yeah, this guy's pretty good. I don't think they knew I did Rocket Power. I don't think they knew that I was a once child actor. I don't think they knew I had that in me. It just, they asked me by happenstance, and now I'm the guy.
That's unreal. That's so sick. Speaking of Rocket Power, like we mentioned, obviously you voiced the character Otto.
Yeah.
Were you a Nickelodeon fan before Rocket Power? I didn't even notice that.
Yeah,
Were
they
you?
gave me this shirt.
No way.
Yeah, it says Rocket Power Crew.
No way. I didn't even notice
Yeah,
that.
yeah, Rocket Power Crew. And I got all my guys right there. Tony Hawk, Shayna Fox, Gary, me, Ulysses, all of them are all signed up on that one. That's an original cell from the show that was hand drawn. All the guys signed it. I have it. If I meet a fan from back in the day and they talk me up about it, I'll usually make a copy of that and send it to them.
That's so sick.
Yeah, pretty
That's
cool.
unreal. Yeah, so were you a fan of Nickelodeon before Rocket Power, or were you kind of a little bit older for that?
No, totally. I mean, I'd come home every day from school and we'd watch cartoons. I was on Hey Arnold. I was doing a voice of Iggy for Hey Arnold when the
Yeah.
Rocket Power audition came out. I said, Joe, you need to do this. This show is your speed. Um, I said, oh, all right. At that time, I was doing a lot. I was also playing for the under 14 boys Olympic soccer team. They were traveling us all over the world. So I was going pro in soccer. And then the Rocket Power audition happened, and I brought the energy of scoring a goal as and equated it to landing a trick. I'm like, oh, sick, double kickflip. Ah! They're like, yes, we need that. We need that. And yeah, it was all of us lined up. The scripts would come to the house. They'd mail us the script. I'd do a once over on the ride in. Yeah, okay, all right, all right. And then we'd all sit down together and uh, picture a giant glass wall. The artists, professional skateboarders, who would, make the direction to, hey, that's not a pop shove it, bro. That's a kickflip. You can't call it a pop shove it. People are going to lose their minds. And then the animator, okay? Or if I would do something, whoa, okay, puts his hand up towards his face. They would make all those notes. So now when you watch the show, I've had a lot of people say, you resemble the character. Like, I think it's something in your brain where you hear my voice and my mannerisms, and
Yeah.
it's just kind of connecting the dots.
Huh.
So we would all go top to bottom. All right, Charlie Adler's on that side of the glass. He's directing. Here we go. Scene opens up. Reg, Otto, Twist, you're all there. You're all screaming, whoa! You're going down the tube. Whoa! What are we doing? I don't know. Just whoa! Then Otto, you're up. You guys ready to check out the fattest double flip ever? Yeah, we're gonna be famous. It's gonna be great. Try it another way. Try it another way. Are you guys ready to check out the fattest double flip ever? That one, love it. Go on to the next line. And then we would just go script, top to bottom. We'd all just flow. And then at the end of it, after we'd already read this script or another script or the third script or whatever, then we would we'd go back over all the different like ad libs. Okay, I need a couple like woogity woogity woogities. I need a couple, oh, whoa, watch outs. This line, that's not how you say that. Try it a different way. So we would do all the pickups after.
Hmm.
And that was pretty cool to just stay in that flow. And then Charlie Adler, holy smokes, that guy is a director. He's a maniac of a director. Guy's got so much energy. Director of Cow and Chicken, Rocket Power. I think he did. I want to say I may be wrong, but I think he did do a couple episodes of Rocko's Modern Life. So it's all kind of within that same
Mhm.
crazy energy wheelhouse.
Yep.
And that dude, yeah, was the energy behind that whole show.
That's so sick. You talked about like voice, like how you kind of bring your voice to certain ways for different characters. For Otto's voice and like finding Otto's voice, did you mainly just kind of do your own at the time and just like add like a little bit into it?
Yes. I just try to bring my voice up into this part of my vocal cords. So when I'm talking as Otto, even then, it's up here. Reg, twist, sit, get ready. You're not gonna believe this. It is up here.
Yeah.
Um, where like my normal regular talking voice has always been kind of a little bit more gravelly.
Yeah.
But when you're a little kid, you only have so much range. You can only bring the bass down so much. Uh, and then I did a couple different characters too. I did like one-off characters or background characters, or there's a kid who drops his ice cream cone. You got to pretend to be that kid. Oh, like okay, cut, cool, edit, put it in there. So we would do maybe two or three different characters, but my main guy was Otto.
Oh wow, I didn't know. Would that be a way on their part probably to save some money, just having the kids that are already there do other voices?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that and uh, we all work well together. So it's like, hey Joe, I need you to do a couple of these or that or whatever. So it's like, oh, all right, cool.
Were you guys all in like were you and the rest of the kids in the studio doing these together?
All of us,
That's
we'd all line up together. We'd all be right next to each other. When
that's
we would
really
film, when we would film Hey Arnold, we were all standing, and the mics would come down from the ceiling. When we were in the Klasky Supo studio was like this giant building. Everybody was in their cubicle, and everybody was hand drawing. And then we would like literally we would navigate through the artists, look in, peek in, see what they had going on, and then get to the recording studio. The studio recording studio was in the back. But everybody that worked on the show, the artists, the skateboarders, the pro NHL guys or downhill snowboarding guys, they would all be in the recording booth because they wanted authenticity. If you're calling something a heel flip, it better be that.
that's awesome. That's such a cool way to do it that I guarantee you they don't do it that way anymore.
Man, I don't know how. Again, I'm kind of far removed from
Yeah.
the acting world now. I can only imagine. They got AI now. They got references. You could just pull up a YouTube video and animate after the YouTube video. I mean, it's probably so much easier now.
Mhm.
But yeah, then they had all the characters to scale, like on a large scroll. They would animate it in different ways. One was kind of like an etched version. One was a little bit more. You can tell in the intro. You can see all the different ways that they were intending to animate that show, and then they landed on that. Like it's a little bit more like Rugrats because that was also a Klasky Supo production. It's
Yeah.
a little bit more like in the character world of Wild Thornberries.
Okay,
All their shows
that makes
kind
sense.
of look similar, but they had ideas to make it this radically different version.
Huh.
But they spliced it all together, and you could see it in the intro. If you ever watch back through the intro, you're like, "We are riders!" Like flashing all these different ways that they had intended to draw it.
Wow. At the time, did you have any idea it was gonna be as big as it ended up being?
I mean, I don't think I realize now
Really?
how many years later I get people like that show was so dope.
It was.
That's awesome. But here's what I will say. I recognize it. I appreciate it. I know. Even my wife was like, "Dude, we used to watch that show all the time. We grew up on the beach. Used to go surfing, and she was always Reggie, and then her brother was always Otto." I was like, "Yeah, that's pretty cool."
That's
Um,
awesome.
but what I did realize is it was a worldwide show. That means there's somebody in Mexico that does the character of Otto Rocket in Spanish. And then there's somebody in France right now who is a voice actor as an adult who, as a kid, did Otto Rocket in French.
That's
Like,
wild.
that blows my mind too. I'm living this life. I did the American version of Otto Rocket, and then somebody else is like, "Yo, soy Otto Rocket." Yeah. Pretty crazy to think about. It's
Is
like
it like
Spider-Man Into the Multiverse. It's
yeah,
like,
actually, yeah, good point. Yeah, yeah, the meme, the Spider-Man meme.
yeah.
Is there like a line or like a catchphrase of Otto's that like you still remember to this day or that was your favorite to do?
Every time somebody asks me to do the voice, I either do Fiji flu. I'm sick because I'm never sick, and Sam's not sick because he's always sick. That's sick. Or when Otto Rocket betrayed Rocket Boards and he goes to Snowmart. Snowmart is snow smart. Think about it, Reg. Contract negotiation. I'm gonna be famous.
That's unreal that you remember those to the
Yeah, and then I have the scripts. I literally have all the scripts.
That's so
I'll sign
cool.
them to fans. I'll give them out. I'll make copies of them. I love sharing this. Like, oh man, let's go over it. Dude, where'd this dog come from? And did you see him ollie that cone? Like,
That is so sick that you still have those.
yeah, I have all of them. I have all of them
Wow.
I have the original script to Slappy and the Stinkers. It was just called The Stinkers.
Huh.
I have all my notes. Like on this one, it'll be like I'll literally draw the path that I want to say it in, or if I want it to end, I'll put a harsh line. I'll just have my notes, and I'll know. Okay, this means we're wrapping up. Done. So
That's sick,
yeah,
and that's really cool that like you like you said you'll photocopy stuff, you'll send them off to fan like that's a
totally.
really cool
Yeah,
thing to do because
find
not
me,
a lot
find
of
me.
people
It's so
do
much. It is so much easier to find your friends now.
that. Yeah.
True. I don't have a Facebook. I've never had a Facebook. But I have Instagram, and people hit me up all the time. I'm Endless Film Co. because that was my production company, and I'm Navajo Joe.
That's
I
it.
have two different
Awesome.
Instagram accounts. One's for the fighting and the sports announcing, and the other's for all the old TV shows that I used to be a part of.
Unbelievable. Last thing on
Follow
Rocket
me. I'll follow
Power.
you back. I'm pretty good about staying on top of it. Um, yeah, I enjoy
I,
all my
I
fans.
I think a lot of people probably like you definitely should have more followers in my mind, but I think because your at's not your name, it's the Endless Films. I think that probably messes with it too. Because like in my mind, you should definitely have more followers just because like the characters you voiced and work.
I could, but I think maybe finding me, going down that, having an adventure, or running into me at the skate park or BMX track, or the other day, I don't know if you know who he is, but his name is Axel Hodges, big time Monster Energy dirt bike guy. Backflips, wheelies. The guy is insane. He's literally the living embodiment of Otto Rocket. Like he's Otto Rocket in human form. I took my boys out to the dirt bike track the other day. I see the guy. He's there. I go up, I introduce him. I go, hey, bro, I know you are a big fan of the show. I wanted to introduce myself. I am also a fan of yours. We take pictures. His dog's name's Otto. I'm like, oh man, that's crazy. So yeah, it's been
That is
still to this
unbelievable.
day pretty
And
epic.
I honestly, and I think like Gary and I talked about this when he was on the show, but like he was saying how cool it is where like a show like this can like encourage physical activity in a cool way. Like for me, like the Rocket Power race across New Zealand, I'll always remember to this day. The day I had watched that, coincidentally, was also the first day I learned how to ride a bike. Just what are the odds that the two happened at the same time, type thing. And that's
Yeah,
again, Gary mentioned like just that it encouraged physical activity in a cool way, hence me learning how to ride a bike.
totally. When I was younger, I got my BMX bike from Slappy and the Stinkers. Years later, I get to be a part of Rocket Power. I have the BMX bike. That turns into dirt bikes. That turns into dirt bike racing. That turns into meeting uh, my dirt bike racing buddy's sister, married her, have kids, and now I'm teaching them how to do all this stuff. And I
Weird.
still make them watch my shows sometimes.
Hey, the world works in a weird way.
I know. I'm like, check this out. You'll like this. And now my boy's
Oh,
literally outside practicing skateboarding moves. He's trying to get this pop shove it done.
I love that. That is so cool. So before we end it, so Rocket Power ends in 2004, and according to your IMDb page, that's where you stopped acting. That's how it's credited anyway. Now, I mentioned in the intro, but you've essentially lived 1,000 lives in your 39 years. I know post acting involves fighting, motor racing, the police stuff. Can you walk me through all that? Because like it sounds pretty wild.
Yeah, just to recap, I consider my acting days a super fond memory. I don't have any wanting desire to go back in on set or do all that. I ended it on top. I love look nothing but awesome memories when I think about it. I'm gonna leave it at that. I did a couple of TV shows. I worked for Fuel TV for a little while. Got into, like, we met some dirt bike racer guys. I ended up buying a motorcycle. I ended up getting a passion for dirt bike racing. Although I had done it my whole life, I grew up riding and racing, and my dad was a motor police officer. So we always had that motorcycle kind of vibe in our house. But I never really took it serious until after I was done with my acting. So I finish up Rocket Power. I start racing motorcycles. Uh, I meet my wife, and I'm like, okay, we have kids now. It's time to get a job. I said, what could I do that keeps me in this positive energy? Like, my personality is being helpful, being kind, interacting with people. I'm a master of all trades. What can I do that would transition well? I'm like, why don't you go into law enforcement? I was like, yeah, I should be just like my dad. So went to the LA County Sheriff's Academy, graduated top. I loved it, had a great time. 10 years, could retired from LA County. They, again, nothing but happy memories, positivity. I feel like if you're doing the right thing the right way, and you're always mindful of being considerate, you tend to be on the right side of things most times. And I don't know if I'm protected or if I'm blessed or if I'm just the universe is has this set for me, but everything's been really, really positive. It's been great. My life's course has been awesome. Family's healthy, my kids are healthy. I have all of this to provide to them and to share with them. I'm healthy. I just feel so honored. Yeah, really encouraged. That and now when somebody comes up to me and they want to talk about the old days, I'm like, absolutely. I love talking about that because I'm doing good. And yeah, so I was a sheriff's deputy for a long time. Loved that. Now I'm doing dad stuff. I'm a ranch hand. My wife's raising chickens. We got heavy equipment. Like, we're moving dirt. I have a 20-acre property. Dude, I got my own racetrack out in the back. I got a little pad for skateboarding tricks out in the front. It's awesome.
That's
Yeah, I have
unbelievable.
no
You live on a
complaints.
compound.
I do. I live. Yeah. I'm essentially. I'm. I'm like the starting stages to having my own, like, man cave property, like a fantasy
Unbelievable.
factory.
Yeah,
Weirder.
seriously.
But it's gonna be outdoor fantasy factory.
Yeah. And again, that's where the physical activity comes back into play.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is so
So we got it
cool.
all. We got archery range. My kids, they have their own little, like, BB gun shooting range. Dude, they're living it.
That's the best because like so many kids nowadays, and I act like I'm acting like I'm old, but like kids nowadays, like it's all about technology. I always say because I'm about to be 30 next week. I always
Huh?
say that I grew up in the perfect time where like we had a little bit of technology, but most of the time we're out like riding our bikes or playing manhunt or doing whatever. But then we had
Yeah.
a little bit of like the computer. Where I didn't have an iPod until I was older because it wasn't a thing like an iPod Touch. We didn't have tablets and iPhones or whatever. We had that like nice middle area.
We used to have to call for directions.
Yep.
We used to have to play the game, "Where are my friends at?" And then you'd ride your bike to George's house and you'd knock on the door. You'd be like, is George here? Like, no. Where else could he be? And you'd have to go find him.
You see all their bikes on your other
dude,
buddy's
they're
lawn.
definitely at Jeff's house. We're going there. We're hanging. And then you have to find a way to call your mom and be like, can I hang out at Jeff's house for a little bit?
Yep. Yeah. And you would ghost your bike where you'd like just jump off of it and like land it on the grass and then run inside.
Yeah. And you know what bike it was? The one from Slapping the Stinkers.
Yes.
Same bike my whole life. One and done BMX.
Last thing I'll ask you, and I ask every guest this, is what is the one thing you miss most about being a kid?
Oh man. That I miss most?
Mm-hmm.
I loved playing soccer. My soccer days are over, but I still get to coach. So I get to still be a part of a sport that I absolutely love. But I'd say being on the field, yeah, big tournaments, pressure's on, PK, final seconds, pretending like you're Messi in the World Cup. Dude, yeah, man, those the days of imagination, I'd say. Yeah.
That's a perfect answer. That's a great answer. Well, Joe, man, thank you so much for doing this. This was unbelievable.
Quinn Marshall, this was great.
I appreciate you so much, man. Pardon?
I scrolled through some of your episodes. I'm a big fan, man. You call me anytime.
Thank you so much, Joe. I appreciate it.
So I got Nostalgia Con coming up. All right. If you can, for all these people who are interested, seeing me or meeting me or talking to me, I'll be at the Anaheim show. I will confirm the dates. I'll be in communication with you. Maybe you can list it at the bottom of this. And then fight night. Dan Henderson's fight night. If you're local to Southern California, you want to go out there, we do it once every 4 months. The next show is April 25th. I don't know if this is going to be edited and shown in 2 weeks. Probably not. But we usually do one in October.
Okay.
So Dan Henderson's fight night. You'll meet me there. Chat it up. It's a good time.
Awesome. Well, Joe, thank you so much. We'll have to get you back on again once you get into the nostalgia cons and all of that. So yeah, thank you again,
for sure.
This is awesome.
It'll be my first one too. I've never been a part of it. I don't even know what to expect, honestly. I'm just gonna go. I'll bring my scripts. I'll sign some skateboards. I'll do some impressions. Who knows? Maybe I'll bring maybe I'll wear like a dreadlock wig or something and actually really get into it. You know.
Amazing, Joe. Thank you so much, man. I'll talk to you later.
See you guys.
And that was the Quinn Marr Show.